"Michael, open the door. I can hear you moving around in there," I shouted, ignoring the neighbor across the street who watched me with curious, probing eyes. I must have looked desperate, standing there in baggy sweatpants, my eyes swollen from crying the entire way here. But I didn't care. Michael always made me feel better after a terrible fight with my husband. When the front door finally opened, I barged inside. Without checking who would let me in, my feet carried me straight to the kitchen. My eyes locked onto one of my brother's expensive bottles of wine as I reached for it. I don't know why I even try anymore. I have nothing left to give. A smooth, deep voice, familiar but definitely not Michael's, startled me. I spun around, finding Brennan standing by the door, a wide, awkward smile on his face. "Sorry, I thought you were my brother." Heat crept up my cheeks, embarrassment washing over me, not just because of my outburst, but because I had just admitted out loud that my marriage was falling apart. "It's all good." I didn't want to interrupt. Brennan, my brother's best friend for years, walked into the kitchen and slid onto a bar stool. He patted the seat beside him with an easy smile, one that somehow always managed to ease my anxiety. Without thinking, I sat down with a heavy sigh. Where's Michael? With his girlfriend. I nodded, resting my elbow on the counter, and pressing my forehead into my palm. I froze when I felt Brennan's hand brush lightly across my back. A familiar but long-ignored tension sparked between us, rising to the surface before I could push it down. I told myself not to meet his eyes, but I did. Stormy gray eyes locked onto mine, searching, considering. I saw the moment he made his decision. "You deserve to be cherished," he murmured. "Let me do that for you." My breath hitched. My gaze flickered to his lips. I swallowed hard. I was about to say no, to get up, leave, and go back home. But then I thought about what I'd be returning to, a husband who believed I should be silent and obedient. No, I couldn't go back to that. When my eyes lifted to meet Brennan's again, he closed the space between us, his lips capturing mine before I could say a word. A soft moan escaped me as his arm curled around my lower back, pulling me closer. My hand slid beneath his shirt, feeling the lean muscles beneath my fingertips. I didn't care anymore. I needed to be touched, to feel wanted, to know what it felt like to be desired completely. And I knew Brennan could give me that. I had held back for years because he was my brother's best friend, but that no longer mattered. Brennan lifted me onto the counter, his lips never leaving mine. His teeth grazed my bottom lip, drawing a gasp from me, just as his hands moved to tug my shirt over my head. The front door opened. We turned at the same time. My husband stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. His eyes moved between Brennan and me, darkening with something I couldn't quite place. But it wasn't shock. It wasn't pain. It was indifference. Brennan stepped away, giving me space, but I didn't move. I just stood there, frozen in place, staring at James. Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. I searched their eyes as if they could give me an answer I already knew. Brennan held my gaze, his expression soft, understanding. No regret. His intentions had always been clear. But James, when I looked at him, all I saw was emptiness. No heartbreak, no sadness, just the absence of something that should have been there. I closed my eyes. Was it regret I felt, or relief? Had I kissed Brennan because I was desperate for connection, or was he the one I truly needed? As I listened to the rapid thoughts in my head, my heart calmed. I already knew the answers. I just wasn't ready to say them out loud. Because the truth was, before I could be happy with anyone, I had to listen to my own voice. I had to respect it. I opened my eyes just as the sound of footsteps echoed through the house. The front door slammed shut. Several beats passed in silence before I turned. James was gone, but Brennan was still there. Without a word, he opened his arms, and I walked straight into them. For now, his embrace was all I needed. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for certain. I would heal, and this time, I would create a better ending.